welcome to this week's The Story of a Poor Boy. I'm Mikey.
I'm Matt.
And this week, Liverpool have continued their fine start to the season with a 1-0 victory over Brighton. It was a very difficult watch in parts, but at the end of the day, when you look back over the stats, Liverpool come through pretty unscathed.
Yeah.
Barring a couple of absolutely terrifying moments brought on by our goalkeeper.
Some fantastic moments brought on by the goalkeeper, and we're just never going to concede a goal, are we? We're just not.
I mean, well, we scored one in this game. Mm-hmm. It's a really well taken goal from Liverpool's from a team point of view. Milner capitalising on a bit of lax play in the Brighton midfield, and then all three of the front men are involved. Mane into Firmino. It's a lovely weighted pass into Mo Salah.
Really, really is. And I feel like we moved on a little bit too soon from the press. It was the perfect example of Klopp's counter press. Yeah. And when he says that he doesn't need a number 10, he doesn't need a playmaker because the counter press is the playmaker. Mm-hmm. Milner pressing and winning that ball there suddenly releases the front three to devastating effect. Yeah. And it's brilliant. And the ball from Firmino to Salah is brilliant, and it allows Salah to take that first time, just place it in the bottom corner, and it's just a lovely goal.
It is. Yeah, I think it is, from a Jurgen Klopp point of view, it is exactly the type of goal he wants his teams to be scoring, and. You know, as good as the build-up is, the finish is absolutely exquisite from Mo Salah, and we've grown to expect that from him. Yeah. No matter how poor he starts the season, whatever it is.
Very poor start to the season. Yeah. 2 goals and 2 assists, I think, in 3 games.
From a winger.
Not bad.
We're gonna face this season, and we are gonna hear it quite a bit from mainstream media if Mo Salah doesn't hit 30 plus. But the fact is, Mohamed Salah last season bypassed every single expectation of every striker I've ever seen sign for Liverpool, let alone any winger.
Yeah.
So this season, Mo Salah, if he has a consistent season where he gets between 20 and 30 goals, I'm absolutely okay with that.
I mean, I'll take 40. I don't mind.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, it doesn't matter because Sadio Mane is going to make up the difference anyway.
This is true.
Mane has a difficult game. In the fact that he's involved in things, but when Mane's quiet, he isn't half quiet.
Yeah, he's just a strange kind of player.
We spoke about this last week at the Crystal Palace game when we both said there are points in the game where Mane looks fantastic, brilliant, one of the best players there is, and then there are points where he goes quiet. I said it was like watching John Barnes in his prime, and then he can very quickly become Ryan Babel.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty much the entire game of Ryan Babel, but like there was glimpses of it there, like the play with Firmino and Salah for the goal.
Yeah.
If Mane's not there and if Mane's not alert as he is, then that can all go quite wrong. He's going to have games like that. Keita gets brought off on 65, I think. Mane not too long after.
Yeah, 67. Yeah. Mane is on the 80th.
Yeah, and I think Klopp said in his post-match interview that there are players that can do better. The intensity is not enough. We lost our way a little bit in the second half, I think he said. And to most extent, I agree. Mm-hmm. First half we were good, maybe a bit wasteful with our chances, especially the front three. Yeah. But we did still test Ryan. Second half that kind of dropped off a little bit, and they started winning the midfield battle a bit more.
Well, it's interesting that you've mentioned with Liverpool testing Matt Ryan, because he makes a save that just hasn't had any kind of build-up or
attention.
Attention. Go on, attention will do. It just hasn't received any kind of press at all when it is an absolutely stunning save from Roberto Firmino's header, because the reflexes to get your hand down that quickly, I mean...
And to keep it that strong as well.
Yeah, exactly, and to keep it that strong and to make sure it's not pushed straight back out to Firmino or Salah, it's a very, very good save, and this is a goalkeeper Liverpool were rumoured to be looking at not too long ago. I think it was when Mignolet was enjoying his worst period as Liverpool goalkeeper. Let's say manager now.
He had a worst?
Yes, he did. Do you not remember when Adam Bogdan replaced him?
Oh, God, yeah.
That's the worst it gets, that.
Oh, God. Our very own Ed Sheeran.
Fucking hell. Yeah, prick.
Almost as shit.
But it's a great save, and Matt Ryan has to make good saves all the way through the game.
Yeah. Yeah, so as wasteful as we can say we were, and as poor as people can say Liverpool were, and
Trent's the bar.
Yeah, he makes saves. We do test them. What was it? We had about 22 shots in 70% possession.
Liverpool had 70% possession, 22 goal attempts, only 8 on target, 7 were off target, and 7 were blocked. So I mean, it just gives you a feel for. I mean, Liverpool were quite clearly the dominant team in this game.
Yeah,
but Brighton responded pretty well to going a goal down.
They're a decent team. They are,
and you give them a lot of credit at the start of the season. I did not, and we spoke about that again last week. But this is a side who beat albeit a struggling Man United.
It's still Man United.
We'll get to that in a bit. Again, I'm going to say that every week. I feel like the last 5 episodes we've spoke about United at some point. So
I think it's the theme.
Yeah, I think general football is just that. It's hit that point now where everyone's...
it's funny.
Yeah, it is. To be fair, we enjoy talking about it, so why not? But yeah, Brighton are... you give them a lot more credit than I did at the start of the season, and I must say that. But, they've started the season with some very, very good performances. Excuse me. Chris Hughton is a good manager, but he normally gets a good tonking at Liverpool. But he starts this game without Pascal Gross.
Yeah.
Which is a massive compliment to Liverpool straight away. Straight from the off.
I think because he knew that you conceded, was it 9 goals last season against us?
Yes.
I think he knew he needed to change something.
But Gross is not the player... to me, Gross isn't the player you're sacrificing that, because Gross is, if anything was to happen for Brighton, then he's the kind of player who can do that, who can kick it into life. Him and Knockaert have this kind of ability to just find little spaces and create things. From what I've seen of the pair of them, Knockaert should score for Brighton. He definitely should score. There's a point where he just caught.
He drops to him and he snatches at it, and it goes wide, doesn't it?
I don't think he appreciated the time he had. Which against Liverpool, you probably don't expect that kind of time.
No,
on the ball,
definitely
not. So
it was a bit of a shambles at the back at that point.
Yeah, it was. And of course, Gross forces a wonderful save from our own goalkeeper, Alisson, who
very late on, wasn't it?
Very, very late on. I think it's the 88th minute. It's always been said that the mark of a good goalkeeper is you don't have anything to do for 90 minutes and then you can make a save like that.
Yeah. It's a goal that I think everyone and their dog afterwards said that a season or two ago we'd have conceded that, we'd have drawn that game, we'd have lost that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's testament to how good Alisson is that he's switched on enough to be able to pull that out of the bag in 85th minute.
88th.
Something like that.
But yeah, I mean it's not the only thing Alisson pulls out in this game.
Oh yes, pulls out Mikey's still beating heart and stamps on it.
I've reached the point now where I've had to accept that I am going to die at least 3 times every time I watch Alisson play.
Yeah.
There's a point in the second half, everyone has spoken
if you
about
watch the game,
it. The bit where he chipped, Van Dijk uncharacteristically plays this really poor back pass to him, and he chips the ball over the attacker, and everyone. I don't even know how Anfield reacted. Me and Matt.
This is one of the few home games that went on. Because we had a stag do to go to.
Yeah, and that's why I've still got a fucking sore throat.
I feel like I've been punched in the throat.
Yeah, I can't believe how bad it's actually been. But yeah, cheers for that, Mark. But yeah, Alisson flicks the ball over the attacker. I'm reliably informed Anfield went very quiet. Very quiet.
From the replays that I've seen, I heard a lot of
yeah,
and very, very sharp intakes of breath.
And then he gets the ball back 10 seconds later and everyone's cheering and going absolutely mad. Which is fucking mental. Loris Karius and Simon Mignolet must be sat there just going, whenever I try that, they're all fucking boo.
Yeah, but whenever they try that, they fuck up.
Yeah. Jurgen Klopp's comments after the game is, "I've never had a Brazilian goalkeeper before. I might have to get used to it."
I feel like those are words to probably live by this season. We're just going to have to get used to having a Brazilian goalkeeper.
And that's it. And there's a point, I mean, all laughing and joking aside, he does very well in that situation because Van Dijk has played him a dog of a pass.
Yeah.
But there's a point later on, I can't even remember when it comes about, but again, he gets the ball back, but this time it's in our own area, and he nearly gets caught out by
he tries
Murray.
to shift it onto his other side and play a pass out to the left back, doesn't he?
He ends up basically tackling the striker, which, again, I'm reliably informed that there was a lot of fume about.
Gasps.
This time, yep. But it's something that we're going to probably just have to accept with Alisson, as Klopp said. To be fair,
I think with a keeper as confident on the ball as he is, we're just going to have to accept that he's going to do things that are going to make us want to cry.
But if it means that Liverpool can play out of the back and Liverpool have an extra option when a team is pressing, and that's what the beauty of Alisson is, really, is that when Liverpool are going to face teams this season who are looking to put Liverpool under pressure, because Liverpool don't really play against many teams who apply pressure the same way we do.
Yeah.
So I think Liverpool will probably see teams try and press them a bit higher up the pitch. And Brighton tried to do that a little bit. Excuse me. And when the ball comes back to Alisson, Liverpool now have a reliable goalkeeper where his distribution is probably his best feature. And that's before you even get to the fact that he is a world-class goalkeeper in his own right. Like, if he couldn't kick, he would still be a world-class goalkeeper. He's a better shot stopper than he's a great shot stopper, Simon Mignolet.
Jesus Christ!
Do you know what I mean? It's just he's everything that we've needed since Reina. Since Reina declined.
It's not even just like he's got great distribution, but he's got really, really good long distribution. He's got really, really good short distribution as well. It's different options to be able to bypass that press that could be implemented against us. He can take it around the attacker and pass out to the fullback, or he can hit one long over the top to Salah. But he will.
Yeah.
You know he's going to do that.
Yeah, and it's an option.
He can look up and find a really nice short, quick pass into the midfield and just completely bypass the press. He's done that a few times already.
I'm looking forward to seeing how it works out. I'd be interested to see how it works out against the likes of Man City, Chelsea, who are quite clearly trying to press a bit higher this season.
Quite clearly.
Yeah, quite clearly. And I don't think their squad can quite handle it at this point in time.
No, you can see they drop off.
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about Gini Wijnaldum again.
Oh, yes.
Gini Wijnaldum, stats flying around all over the gaff. I think he played... I don't even know how many he played, but 99% of his passes on target, and he only missed one. In the summer we see Jordan Henderson have the World Cup of his life.
Yep.
We see Liverpool spend £40 million on Fabinho Tavares, and we're sat there like our options in centre midfield look good, holding midfield look good. Sorry, Emre Can's fucked off, but who's asked?
Yeah.
Now Gini Wijnaldum's entered the fray as somehow Liverpool's starting holding midfielder for the first 3 games of a Premier League season. And again, we spoke about this last week, and you don't want to. The problem with doing this weekly is that we are going to end up treading over the same turf repeatedly.
But if the players keep being consistent in how good they are in these positions, we're going to keep talking about it.
This is the thing with Gini Wijnaldum. This is like. I can't remember a player remodelling himself as well as Wijnaldum has done so far this season. In fact, so far, any time he's played holding midfield, including last season, sorry. So I can't think of anybody who's made a transition from someone who is renowned for scoring goals when he comes over from Holland. He scores goals for Newcastle, albeit none away from home, but. He comes to Liverpool with this reputation of someone who will get you goals and someone who will add to the attacking line. And now we're seeing him play as a holding midfielder, and I can't quite remember somebody who's transitioned in such a way.
Gerrard, maybe, in that one season where he played defensive mid?
I mean, but the problem with that is Steven Gerrard always had that in his locker.
Yeah.
You've got to look back to 2001, when he first breaks through, and Gerrard's playing deep. Do you know what I mean? Gerrard has that ability to play deep.
Right. Midfielder. Yeah. An ageing midfielder to drop deeper back.
Especially with his passing quality and all that. But Wijnaldum has not... Wijnaldum has... What Gerrard did there, right, is Gerrard has taken abilities he had already and he's just basically fine-tuned them. Gini Wijnaldum has shown things that nobody ever expected and saw from him before.
Klopp.
Except for Jurgen Klopp. And, I mean, this point... What I'm getting towards is, I mean, there's a lot of talk at the moment about what managers are doing with the players that they have at their disposal, and you know what they should have done in the transfer window. Liverpool didn't need to reinvent the wheel with Gini Wijnaldum, and yet we are seeing somebody. Jurgen Klopp has seen something in a player and went, right, okay, I'm going to use that because I think you can help my team, and you are. He is dominating midfields, and we've seen that from Wijnaldum. He does tend to do that.
Yeah.
In the bigger games, admittedly, but
this is in the same way of James Milner at left back. A couple of seasons ago.
And this is the thing about that separates, I think, great managers, great man managers, and great people managers from tacticians and people who've won 3 Premier League titles. At the moment,
respect.
Yeah, I mean we'll get there. We'll get there again.
I feel like we're really nearly there.
But we're very nearly there. But yeah, I mean, do you know what I mean? No, it's like Wijnaldum. We're not seeing anything we expected to see from Wijnaldum, and yet the levels are. I mean, there's no one in England that Gini Wijnaldum wouldn't be playing for right now.
Yeah,
on this form, and I include Man City in that. He's playing at a level Fernandinho was at last season, and that is saying something.
No, I agree. And it's testament to Wijnaldum himself and Klopp.
I was about to say that then. Who gets more credit for this, do you think? Is it the player for adjusting to the role that they've been asked to play, or is it the manager for spotting that there might be an opportunity?
I think probably more Gini. You know?
Yeah, that's fair. I would agree with that.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot for a player, especially an attack-minded player, to listen to someone say, "Look, right, I know you're a cam, I know you're a winger, but what I want you to do is I want you to sit back and I want you to control the midfield and I want you to just be the distributor of the ball." It's difficult to hear that and not think that he's maybe downplaying your attacking qualities, maybe kind of backhanding, insulting.
Yeah,
it's so we saw. I think we maybe saw it with Sturridge a couple of years ago when Sturridge was told he needed to drop a bit deeper, needed to run a bit less, and he wasn't happy with that. And you can see that he wasn't happy with that. Like the dance stopped for one. But I think Gini Wijnaldum's took it in his stride, and to be able to listen to different tactical information from a manager and to be able to put that into his play so well, I think that has got to be a testament to how intelligent of a player he is and how good of a player he is and can become.
And the important thing as well is when we talk about Klopp players, and no one really saw Jurgen Klopp, Gini Wijnaldum, as a Jurgen Klopp player when he first came in. But it's not. I don't think it's a Klopp player is a physical attribute as such. I think it's a mental thing more than anything else.
It's an adaptability.
Yeah, and I think it's basically, as Jurgen said, we don't want, when he said years and years ago, that we don't want people jumping on for the final destination. We want people who are pushing the coach forwards.
Yeah.
And I think the idea of players like James Milner and like Gini Wijnaldum being able to adapt to roles they wouldn't necessarily be happy with, and maybe that are stifling them a little bit. I mean, Milner still gets all the freedom he wanted down at left back, but he still had to do a job defensively.
Yeah,
we didn't have Virgil van Dijk when he was playing left back. He still had to do a job defensively. No, I mean, I just thought that was an interesting thing to look into. With Wijnaldum, definitely, because I'm very, very pleased with Wijnaldum.
I'm really interested to see, because I think he's now it's his place to lose, that holding midfield role.
That I was literally about to say. Is this still? Are we still waiting for Jordan Henderson to regain full fitness, or are we just seeing that Gini Wijnaldum is keeping out Jordan Henderson?
I feel like Gini Ronaldo might be keeping him out at the minute.
Right.
If we see a drop in form, maybe Henderson comes back in, maybe Fabinho comes in. I know Klopp's taking his time with him, doesn't want him. Going from like a two-man pivot midfield at Monaco to a essentially one-man defensive unit in midfield here, it's going to be quite difficult. And
is it
Klopp's taking time with Fabinho. There's a different manager who's not taking as much time with a midfielder who has come in from a two-man pivot to a one-man defensive role.
Of the same nationality.
Yeah, him. And we can see how that's going.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely worth a point and worth mentioning. It's baffling to see the level of man management that certain managers don't really seem to possess at this point in time.
Can we stop teasing?
No, we'll get onto it in a bit. I do want to talk about Fabinho a little bit.
Yeah.
While we're on him, is the success of Wijnaldum maybe taking a little bit of pressure away from the Jurgen Klopp? Jurgen Klopp not giving Fabinho a game yet, because we saw last season, for example, that Alberto Moreno he starts the season very well, has an off game against Sevilla again, and all of a sudden there becomes this clamour for Andrew Robertson to get a game, and people are going, why is Robertson not starting? Why is Robertson not starting? And then when Klopp finds that Robertson's ready, we see him come in, and he's never looked like moving since. Are the performances in Wijnaldum just keeping that quiet at the moment?
I think it's definitely helping the situation. So the Moreno and Robertson one's a really good example, because Moreno was in good form for a while, and Robertson was allowed the time behind the scenes to properly adapt to the system. Maybe with Oxlade-Chamberlain last season, when he came in, it was possibly still a little bit too early.
Yeah.
But our midfield was a little bit depleted at the time. And people started getting on his back, and obviously he was still an Arsene Wenger player. We saw towards the end of last season how good Oxlade-Chamberlain became, but that's when he had all that time behind the scenes.
Yeah,
and it's having that time behind the scenes without time in the spotlight, making those mistakes.
Yeah,
so
man management again.
Yeah, I think it's definitely helping.
You get a player like Wijnaldum who's willing to do that work. It definitely helps. It doesn't only help Liverpool; it helps Fabinho in particular, because I think a lot of Liverpool fans are very, very excited about Fabinho, and rightly so. He's young, he's very talented from what we've seen. He's enormous. His passing range is very good, and he moves the ball quickly. He just looks like a player we could very much do with as part of the Arsenal. So to see him not get the opportunity at this point in the season, it just. If Wijnaldum's not playing well, I could just see people just being like, no. I mean, I think it definitely does help take the pressure away in the fact that we've seen it happen already, as you say, with Robertson and as you say with Oxlade-Chamberlain. If that hadn't happened last season, then we'd be like, oh, well, why is Fabinho not in? Why is Fabinho? Not all of us, obviously. Some of us.
But there'd be more clamour, more noise.
More clamour, exactly. I mean, we don't know who Liverpool, at the time of recording this anyway, the League Cup second round starts tonight.
Come on, Stags.
But whoever Liverpool draw, you would think that's probably the game that's got a little ring around it for Fabinho's start.
That'd be nice.
First start. And Mignolet's probably going to come back and go.
Oh, no.
His comments have been really, really annoying this week, but I can't be arsed talking about him because I hate him.
Yeah, he's an idiot. Shouldn't wear our shirt anymore.
Yeah, that's fine. Leicester away next week. This weekend, sorry. It's a tricky one.
Leicester are. But Vardy can't play against us and score against us, as he always does.
That is very true. One thing, it is strange how every single game just seems to be a potential, there's room in there for us to be like, you know what, there's a bit of, this team's good, this team's better than we thought. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool, on paper, at the start of the season, West Ham at home, Crystal Palace away, alright, on paper, purely, Brighton at home, Leicester away. Liverpool should come away with 12 points from there. I've just nearly knocked my mic over. But when you actually play against these teams, you can see potential stumbling blocks coming in, and Brighton is obviously no exception to that, as I've already said. Last week, dispatched with United, played fantastically for 45 minutes. Leicester, I mean, Is there a bit an element of caution going into this game, or is it just the Reds are just going to turn up and do their thing?
I don't think the mindset of the Reds are going to turn up and do their thing is a good one. I don't think the manager's going to have it. I don't think the players are going to have it. I'm confident we'll win, but I know it's not going to be easy. And I don't think any game this season is going to be easy. We've been earmarked as the title challengers to Man City. So teams are going to want to have us as their scalp. Yeah. Every game is going to be hard this season. Leicester away is no exception to that.
Actually, before we actually talk about Leicester properly, we may as well move on from Brighton completely then. Man of the match from the Brighton game, from what you saw?
Genie.
Yeah, Genie. That's fine. To be different, I'll be Alisson.
Sound.
Just because we don't win that game without that save.
That is true.
And as good as Genie was, I need Alisson to be incredible. So.
This is true.
I've waited so long for it. But yeah, rest of the games this weekend, we will start with Southampton-Leicester then, I guess. So Leicester winning in the last minute, Harry Maguire. Leicester, so far this season, then their form, they've taken 6 points from 9, lose somewhat unfortunately against United in the first game, then beat Wolves 2-0. Impressive, given how Wolves have started against some of the other teams, maybe. And Southampton are relegation fodder at this point, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's difficult to get a read, is what I'm trying to get at.
It is. It's early on, but it doesn't mean we can take it for granted and think, oh, it's only Leicester. Oh, they don't have Vardy.
No.
Morris is gone.
Oh no, definitely.
Which I know some fans will be thinking.
But what I'm saying is, it's difficult to get a feel for where Leicester actually are at this point in the season, because the teams that they're playing are not. I mean, Wolves, you don't really know what you're going to get for them. They've done well against Man City. They were poor against Everton in the first game. So, I mean, you don't really know what you're going to get from Leicester with the quality of the opposition they've played so far, is what I'm getting at. Out of the top 6, who would you want to play right now? Arsenal and United. And they got beat by United.
This is true.
I mean, looking at the stats, they haven't particularly boss games. They've just done a Leicester about it, really. It's Claude Puel. He's going to set up defensively. We can kind of expect that. Am I right in saying we've won our last 2 games at the King Power? In the league?
Believe so,
the league?
Believe so.
We got beat there in the League Cup last season, I know that. But in the league, I'm confident about this game, don't get me wrong, but it's just another game that I just think Liverpool, there should be an air of caution about it, and
definitely.
It's a potential banana skin, the same way Crystal Palace was. But it's just every time I look at our fixtures, I'm just like, you know what, that's a difficult game. That's a difficult game as well.
We keeping pace with the prediction that you gave a couple of weeks ago, / beating that pace, and it will be fine. I feel like that's a good segue.
Absolutely, definitely. I can't believe... I may as well talk about that now. Wolves take 2 points off Man City.
They do.
We missed it again because Stag. But
I said they wouldn't win all the games, didn't I?
You did, and you know what? Credit to you for reading that situation. It's a very fortunate goal from Wolves. It's a definite handball.
Yeah.
Laporte is a stunning header from Laporte to equalise as well. But the fact is, Wolves come away. They've had 30% possession against Man City. No one's going to kid you. They were expected to do that. But 11 goal attempts against the team that
got at them. They really got at them. And I think that it showed the defensive frailties of Mendy that game.
I can't believe that nobody's... I can't wait for Neville and Carragher to pick up on it, because I think they're going to do an incredible special on it one day, and hopefully Liverpool Man City can be the game where they're just like, listen, we're going to pick it apart here, and we're just going to say how poor Mendy is defensively. He is fantastic going forward. He's basically another winger going forward. But
he's basically a winger going back.
He's basically a winger going back, yeah.
So if City have a weakness this season, I feel like it's that. And Wolves, if Wolves can show that, I think there's other teams that can show that as well.
Yeah. I think Guardiola's astute enough to find a way around that, though, find a way of dealing with that issue, if that is their only issue. Do you know what I mean?
True.
If they're struggling at the left-hand side of the defence, he'll just move company over there or something like that. Do you know what I mean? He'd do something smart.
Hey, a man can hope.
Yeah, we never know. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to go into too much detail on any of these games because, as I say, we didn't really watch any of them. So, one that
I was even too drunk for match of the day.
Yep. Arsenal beat West Ham 3-1. Finally get some points on the board for themselves.
West Ham still nothing.
West Ham fucking just absolutely battering my prediction from the first week. Honest to God, they're just doing their best.
Dying to say West Ham would be like the disappointment of the season, just to piss you off. But honestly, I wouldn't have believed it when I said it. So
no,
I didn't say
exactly.
It.
I mean, from what I take from social media in particular, West Ham have just not played well at all.
Yeah,
they've played one good half of football, and it was the first half against Bournemouth, and they ended up losing the game.
It's a lot of it. There's not much cohesion in that team.
Yeah,
it's probably down to like the new manager coming in, all new players pretty much.
I mean, the team that starts the game against Arsenal, of the back five, so he plays 4 at the back, but of the back 5, including the goalkeeper, 4 of them are new signings. Then you've got Sanchez in midfield, Wilshere, Anderson, all starting as well. So that's 7 of the 11, all new signings.
See, when we talk about Fabinho needing time to come in, needing time to get used to the Premier League and get used to the manager's tactics, 4 of that back 5 need time to get used to the Premier League and the manager's tactics.
I mean, Fabianski started the season pretty well. He's a good goalkeeper. He's a solid goalkeeper. I wouldn't mind him as backup to Alisson, to be honest, but
anyone but Mignolet.
he wouldn't do it anyway because he's 33.
Really?
That's blown my mind. That I can't do the rest of this.
Oh God,
I can't believe it.
It's the end of the podcast. Bye guys.
Forever. I can't believe Lucas Fabianski's 33. That absolutely killed me. I thought he was like 27 or something like that. I thought he was like way away from his prime.
Nah,
in his prime.
He's basically dead.
Oh fucking hell. What was I talking about? West Ham, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you've got Fabianski's Premier League experience all over the place. Then you've got Fredericks, who's coming up from the Championship. Bob Wayner, who's coming across from Brazil. Diop, who's coming across from France. There's too much variation in there.
It is, yeah. It's a complete melting pot of cultures, footballing styles, languages.
Yeah,
it must be absolute chaos in that dressing room.
Yeah, and I don't think I think Pellegrini's got a job on his hands.
Yeah, get it till Christmas. He'll pull it together.
Yeah, I think he would. Yeah, if not, then Rafa Benitez. I want Rafa out of Newcastle.
Oh God,
simple as that. And also, he loves a bit of controversy. Him versus Golden Sullivan would be fucking brilliant to watch.
I'd pay for that boxing match.
Rafa would win.
Oh yeah.
Moving on to the next game, Bournemouth 2, Everton 2. Looked like a classic, to be fair. Both teams have a man sent off each. Richarlison for being a fucking idiot. I haven't seen the tackle from... is it Smith? Yes, Smith. I haven't seen the tackle from Smith.
One great.
But, I mean, Bournemouth's a difficult place to go for Everton. But, I mean, it's another game where stupidity's seen them down to 10 men. Whether or not you agree Jagielka's was a red card in the first game or not, I don't think it was.
It's down to stupidity, though.
Yes,
but you can't see that continuing as a trend with this Everton team.
No.
They'll run out of players, for one.
Yep.
So, Silva will get it under wraps. They look decent. Walcott looks all right going forward. And then we've got to deal with Richarlison for 3 games, but we should be able to manage with that. We got decent attacking talent. It's the defence that is a worry.
I think Bournemouth need a bit of credit as well for how they started the season. You know, we're talking about a team who are usually tipped for relegation because they just don't have that much money, really.
Yeah.
7 points from 3 games.
It's very good.
It's better than Leicester, Everton, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Fulham, Brighton, United, Wolves, Cardiff, Newcastle, Southampton, Burnley, Huddersfield, and West Ham. I mean, the only team... they're the highest of the teams you'd expect to be struggling.
Yeah.
After 3 games. Sorry, they're the highest after 3 games. You wouldn't expect anyone to be struggling after 3 games.
I know you mean.
But yeah, I think to start the season with those results, I mean, they're not games that you'd expect Bournemouth to struggle in. Maybe Everton is, but they've done statistically. I think they've done pretty well against Everton recently. Got a decent record at West Ham. Cardiff. They're going down.
Oh please, I hope so.
By the end of this podcast, I reckon I'm on about 5 or 6 teams to go get relegated. I said Southampton are going down. I said Cardiff are going down, and I'm about to say Huddersfield are going down as well.
Oh, you're breaking Lexi's heart.
What have you seen from them this season? Though that it's gonna, it's gonna change that opinion.
Sorry, they'll beat Everton on the weekend.
I know, yeah. Imagine. The first 45 minutes against Chelsea, they were very good, and they still find themselves losing 2-0 at half-time. Yeah. It's sad, but some teams like hit a breaking point, and they didn't. They did what I've always been curious about as well with loan signings in promoted teams, is that at some point you are going to spend, if you want to keep those loan signings around, you're going to spend your summer budget to have the same team that you had the year before.
Yeah.
Which is what we're seeing with PSG as well at a higher level, obviously, in France. I can't believe I just said those words together. A higher level in France.
It's alright, I'll forgive you.
You know what I mean? No, Mbappe going there has meant that PSG have weakened themselves to actually keep him around. And Huddersfield, they went out and signed Congolo. Did they sign Lossell this summer on a permanent as well? And it's like, what the fucking hell are you doing? Like, you need to... I know loans are a quick way of developing the team, well, building and adding to the squad, but it's not a long-term solution by any stretch of the imagination, and it does mean that Huddersfield have had a summer this year where they've basically done a Tottenham and ended up with the same point.
Yeah, I'd say it's... So Fulham did kind of the same with signing their loan player from last season, but they've also had the funds to be able to strengthen in other areas, like getting Seri and Schürrle, and it's like... I do feel bad for Huddersfield, because I feel like everyone else has just kind of left them and Newcastle behind, to be honest, with the signings they've been able to make. And with Huddersfield and Newcastle, for one reason or another, it's just not quite possible.
Mm. Yeah, Huddersfield is for different reasons than Newcastle.
Oh yeah.
To say the very least.
They're the one reason. Newcastle are the other.
Yeah. I feel like we just moved on. I moved on from Bournemouth Everton dead quickly there, but Everton is shite. Bournemouth on for a good season. Yeah.
Wilson and King are good.
Yeah, I think
they'll bang in quite a few goals from.
I think what you were saying, what Joe was saying actually the other day about a top half finish for Bournemouth, it's definitely on the cards.
Could be.
A team that I think is basically nailed on for a top half finish is Watford at this stage. And it didn't look like it on paper when the fixture list comes out, but Watford Crystal Palace was a fucking hell of a game. I exactly what I needed, hungover. Wasn't quite as good as Fulham Burnley was later on in the day, but Watford Crystal Palace, I mean, they played very well, Watford, and this is a Crystal Palace team, as I've already said, and we spoke about at length last week. They're going to go places, they're going to do things, they're a good side, and Watford just made them look it's like... It just looked like two very, very good footballing teams, which is not something you would expect. Do you know what I mean? From Watford and Crystal Palace. Mm. All right, Crystal Palace have more of the ball, but Watford 13 shots to Palace's 9. They just look very good. Watford, they just look very together, and Crystal Palace looked very shy of a good goal scorer up front. Because Christian Benteke is... I don't know what's happened to him to shake his confidence.
Awful. I mean, Zaha gets his goal eventually.
He was quiet.
Yeah.
And the service to him wasn't great. I mean, Palace...
He needs help from Benteke.
He does.
It's big man, little man. He needs it.
He does need it. I think Palace would just benefit from. You know what they would have benefited from? Signing Mitrovic.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, from Fulham. Who's gone to Fulham. And absolutely fucking saved my fantasy team this week. You absolute hero.
Yeah, I might have panicked and played my wild card. I was going to save it for a couple of weeks, but I've played it now.
I played mine last week as
well.
well.
Yeah, I know, I saw.
Yeah, that's fine. But I put Mitrovic in and he did not fucking let me down.
Yeah, that's
beautiful, man. Ryan Sessegnon didn't start for Fulham. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So I'm not going to talk about Fulham Burnley because as I've just basically said, I didn't really watch it because I didn't know Sessegnon didn't play. It's a good result though.
Was it Seri's goal that was an absolute banger?
I believe so. Again, haven't seen it.
Really, really good goal.
Do you feel bad for Burnley at this point? I did say that they would struggle this season, but not to this level. Though.
Not to this extent. It's weird how loose at the back they look.
They're one of my 6 teams to go down this season.
I thought they'd be all right for at least a few weeks because Europe hasn't started in earnest for them yet, has it? For them to be,
you can say that, but I mean, you can say it hasn't properly started, right? But since their first one was Aberdeen on the 26th of July, so they've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in the Europa League.
What I mean is, they shouldn't be knackered yet.
No, if anything,
they should be getting knackered by about Christmas.
They should be, if anything, they should be the other way.
Yeah. And it's just weird how not drilled they look. We're used to them being like a really, really organised team with such a sound philosophy, and they so rarely make mistakes. And they shipped 4 goals against newly promoted Fulham.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And Fulham dominated from the stats I'm looking at here as well. Not stats tell the full story, but in this case I'm going to bet that they did. I mean, the points at the moment flat as Burnley. They've got a point from Southampton on the first weekend. Southampton are shite.
Yeah.
And hopefully this might be the year. This might be the year.
Now that we're done with them, we can fuck off.
Yeah. We've fucking milked them dry. Now we're selling our players to them instead.
I want Ings to be happy though.
Yeah, I know. I still think Danny Ings will have a decent season, and if Southampton are to stay up, it will be because of Danny Ings.
Probably, yeah.
The only other game of the proper weekend anyway was Newcastle-Chelsea. I don't really want to talk about it because it was just a standard. It turned out to be pretty standard for Chelsea. Newcastle tried their best to frustrate them. Came very, very close.
So close.
Never a fucking penalty. Ever in a million years. Refereeing is a joke. See every other episode of this ever. For me fucking ranting about refs. Who was it who gave the pen? I can't even remember who the ref was. He's
safe to say he's shite.
Yeah, he's fucking shite because he's a Premier League referee.
This is true.
One thing I do want to say, and it's a plug for Sky Sports somehow. If you haven't already listened to it, go on YouTube and have a look at Carragher and Neville's breakdown of comparing Wolves' performance against City to Newcastle's performance against Chelsea, because it is actually fascinating. Like, if you look at a game like I just have there, admittedly with Fulham Burnley, you can look at a game and just go, oh well, the stats tell you that they were fucking shite. But with Newcastle, everyone is slating Newcastle and everyone's praising Wolves, but there's so much more to it than that, and they've actually played very similar styles. It's just down to quality at the end of the day. But Carragher and Neville are a lot better at talking about football than I am. So listen to them. It's boss. Matt, you included.
I will.
So let's move on to the last game of the weekend, the Premier League weekend.
Yeah.
Manchester United 0, Tottenham 3.
Nice.
So
how can Mourinho compete with all 0 signings that Spurs made?
It is baffling. It is truly a mystery to me how he can do that. Only the greatest managers can do that, apparently. Let's in all seriousness.
Yeah, let's have a chat about the game.
Okay. United play well for the first 35 minutes.
Yep.
And there's a popular opinion right now on Twitter that, but amongst United fans, this has to be said, Manchester United can only play well for a half. They will never play well. They don't play well for two halves. They will play well for either the first half or the second half, but never both. And yesterday was that in just you could see that straight away, and it was just like Tottenham, without really breaking a sweat in the second half. I mean, Tottenham played well, don't get me wrong, but Lucas Moura was fantastic. But Tottenham didn't do anything groundbreaking. Tottenham weren't like this. Wasn't a thing where you could sit down and just go, "This is what Tottenham did," to frustrate United. United were just 3 goals worse than Spurs.
Yeah. United made mistakes, and even in the first half, I don't think United were. They weren't great for all the possession they had and for all the shots that they had. They didn't really have a shot, a really, really good chance. Bar the Lukaku one where he takes it round Lloris and then misses.
Yeah, I mean, there's that one. There's the one in the second half that Lingard, where Alderweireld gets back and stops him from getting a shot off. But other than that, I mean,
they don't make clear-cut chances.
No,
like they might have played more attacking football and more free-flowing in the first half at least, but they didn't look like a team who was going to win the game. A lot of people were saying, they should have been 2 or 3-0 up in the first half. Nah.
I mean, that would have flattered United hugely because Spurs didn't start particularly well, but Spurs never looked particularly under pressure, as you're saying. It's a good header from Kane, and as I've already said, Lucas Moura plays well. But United, all 3 of the goals, I mean, we sat through it before and we watched the highlights before we start recording this, and you look at the first goal, for example, Valencia just wanders off the front post. Second goal, I don't know what the fuck Ander Herrera's even doing. That
it's not a tackle you'd expect him to put in. He's an horrible bastard. You'd expect him to snap him.
Yeah, and
not pussy out. Jesus.
I mean, he might well be playing out of position, but that's literally his bread and butter. It's a meaty challenge.
Yeah.
Go in for that and fucking win that ball. And instead, he gets megged as he turns away from the ball. It's so poor from him. You expect somebody of his reputation to be a bit more fucking full throttle into that, shall we say. And then the third goal, Chris Smalling just fucking
absolutely brain dead,
doing literally the one thing you never do, and it's showing an attacker onto their stronger foot, an attacker who is clearly quicker than you as well. It just seemed like a lack of basic understanding of football and basics, really. Like, United can't do the basics right at the moment. I mean, Pogba's misplaced some 5-yard passes. Alexis Sanchez looks like a completely different footballer.
I forgot he was on the pitch. Didn't see any of him in the highlights.
Yeah, he looks like a completely different man to the one that was fantastic at Arsenal and who I wanted really badly from Arsenal, to be honest. I'm so glad we didn't go near him. And on him, actually, the knock-on effect of him signing for United is that now we're seeing Rashford and Martial just not get minutes at all, which means that 2 young, exciting footballers, I mean, you take Liverpool cap off for a second, 2 young, exciting footballers now can't get minutes under a manager who never fucking gives youth a chance anyway, really. And, he's clamouring out for more signings, but if he's already going to be, like, he's loaned out Fosu Mensah, right, who a lot of United fans have a lot of hope about. What guarantees has he got at all that Alderweireld is going to come in and just fucking fix everything? Do you know what I mean? Why? Sanchez hasn't.
Yeah, well, like, he's got 5 centre-backs. He bought 3 of them.
Yeah, and I mean, Lindelof's shit. Bailly is good, but I think he's very injury-prone.
Inconsistent as well.
Yeah.
He can be very good, but he can be very bad.
Yeah, he proved that against us last season, to be fair. He wasn't great, and he wasn't great for the own goal, for example, and then he... at the same time, he's stopping Firmino and he's stopping Mane. Smalling and Jones are Smalling and Jones. Everyone knows they're fucking terrible at football. Who's the 5th? Rojo, yeah. Is he dead?
Damn.
Whatever. But, I mean, he has spent fucking fortunes on that team, and it's now you've got to turn around and you've got to say that it's not worked out because of him to this point at this point in time. I mean, I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that anybody else comes in with these same players is gonna work their magic straight away. Do you know what I mean?
I think they'll definitely be better.
I think they'll be better because they will prioritise attacking. And the main issue with Man United right now, from my point of view anyway, obviously, United fans will know better than we will, and it's at the end of the day, this is what it is. This is a Scouser just fucking moaning about how shite United are, and loving every fucking minute of it as well.
Yeah,
but what I see at Man United right now is a team who want to play defensive football. Well, a manager who wants to play defensive football with a team primed to play attacking football. And I mean, the attacking names they have at that team. I mean, Pogba, Mata, Sanchez, Rashford, Martial, Lukaku. That team. I mean, even Lingard. I don't particularly rate Lingard very highly, but he got goals. He got goals last season.
Yeah.
Going back to last season, Ibrahimovic was there. The season before, Wayne Rooney's still there. Do you know what I mean? There's an abundance of attacking talent there. Even the fullbacks are primed for it. Luke Shaw looked fucking great yesterday from attacking left back.
Yeah.
Valencia started out as a winger. Apparently he can't cross now. That's a new thing. Apparently that's a new thing going around, that he's an attacking fullback who can't cross. Whatever. He was the best fullback in the league last season, if you ask most United fans, but whatever.
True.
But it boils down to there's a team. The team seems to be going one direction, and the manager wants to go a different way. And now he's lashed his toys out the pram because he's just not got the tools to go this other way. He's not got enough players coming with him, pulling in the same direction as him, and United are just falling apart. It's actually sad to see, to be honest. As you can shake your head all you like. It's sad to see from a. I've definitely just had deja vu where I've said this line before, but from a football fan who's seen Liverpool fall from grace to the fucking the bottomness of Roy Hodgson being in charge.
Christ.
Do you know what I mean? Like that was the worst. That was as bad as it ever got, and it's never gonna get bad for United. Don't care. It's never gonna get that bad for United.
A man can hope.
But it's incredible to see something that was built up by Ferguson so well and so imperious over the rest of us, really, that it can just be destroyed by just some fucking stupidity. Like not backing. I mean, Moyes isn't a great manager by any stretch, but not backing him at all. Giving Van Gaal stupid money that he lashed fucking £70 million on Anthony Martial, who I think is a good footballer, but it's never worth that much ever, even at that point. And now Mourinho, who's had a blank checkbook and signed fucking 37 million players and fucking 40-year-olds all over the gaff.
I think I read his net spend since he came in was like 300 million.
I think it's 400. You know,
really?
I think it's particularly like
So it's not as if he's not been backed by like the management. It's really, really weird. And you can say it's sad to see all you like. I think it's hilarious.
It is hilarious. I do find this hilarious, but for the sake of neutrality, a little bit, you like to see something as impressive as what Ferguson done just completely destroyed. That, I mean, it just makes you realise like how much you should take from, Liverpool appearing in Champions League finals and doing well in the league. We should enjoy this because it can just fucking disappear.
It can be fleeting.
Yeah, it can just disappear. That's the point I'm making. I'm not making it from a United fan point, United supporting point of view. I'm making it from a football fan. Yeah. This might well happen to. And the wheels haven't completely come off. Man United could still finish fucking second in this league this season. They're not winning it. They could still finish quite high up this season, but something massive needs to happen. Something massive.
Yeah, but what though?
I don't know. Is the answer to that.
Yeah.
Mourinho is not the type of manager to tinker with his tactics to a point where you don't recognise the team anymore. And the fact that you saw him do that last night and go to basically a 3 at the back with Herrera playing right centre half. I mean, that's just weird. That's just lashing your toys out. That's like, I'm sure there's a point where Rafa started playing players out of position just to be like, right, okay, well, I don't have anyone to play here, so when he had to play Robbie Keane through the middle on his own because he didn't have any other options at all, and he's just like, right, okay, well, I'm gonna have to do this then, aren't I? And that's what
it's kind of a mini protest. It's like, you should have bought me a centre back because look, I'm having to play under Herrera here now.
Yeah, and it's his way of being subtly a cunt.
It's incredibly petty.
It is incredibly petty. The other thing as well about what can United do from this point is that who's going to come in and save that at this point in time? The one name I could genuinely see doing something with that squad is Antonio Conte at this point in time. But why would he want to go near there?
True.
Why would anyone want to go right near there when at the moment Woodward seems to just be pulling in a completely different direction again from Mourinho? The only way is if they change the complete structure of how they sign players. For example, because I mean everyone now knows that Mourinho wanted X and the board wanted Y.
Yeah.
And so the board went, well, we're not getting Y, we're not getting you X. Fuck yeah. Which is not how you run a football club, really. I mean, Guardiola, he's done some incredible things, but let's be honest, he bought a goalkeeper, it didn't work out, so he went out and spent more money. And that's what Mourinho wants to do this year, but he's just not going to... He can't do that because whilst he's fighting with everybody else. And from that point of view, I understand where he's coming from a little bit, because at the end of the day, if you see so many... if you see so many corrective signings, if you will, from like Man City, where Man City are just like, right, well, our defence wasn't working, so we'll just go out and buy a new defender. We'll buy Kyle Walker for 50 million. We'll buy John Stones for 50 million quid.
See, the thing with this, though, is there's got to come a point where you've got to say, okay, enough with these signings, because you keep making these signings and they keep not working out.
Yeah, I mean...
There's got to be a point.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying about the starting 11 for Man United yesterday.
Most were signed by him.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's 7. I think something around that.
One of them that wasn't was David De Gea, who you would never have to buy a goalkeeper when you got David De Gea.
No,
so he doesn't even count.
David De Gea is the reason he's still got a job at this point in time. It's definitely the reason they're playing Champions League football this season.
Probably, yeah.
I don't see how that United team puts up with Champions League football this season.
It'd be interesting to see
because it just seems. It just seems stretched very thin. So speaking of Champions League,
nice.
I know. We'll move on from United. Yeah. In fact, we'll come back round to United later on, but from a different angle. It's not talking about Mourinho. We'll be talking about something else.
Respect. I just wanted to get that in.
No, we aren't talking about respect.
I just wanted to get that in just once.
So what we're going to talk about now is the Champions League draw,
yes,
which is coming up on Thursday. So, I mean, it's very weird to say this at this point in time, but we don't know what pot Liverpool are going to end up in at this point.
It's a bit of a weird situation.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I mean, it looks for all the world like it'll probably be Benfica going into pot 2.
And us being in pot 3. That's what I'm expecting to happen. Yeah,
if PAOK get a result against Benfica, and come through, then Liverpool go into pot 2. But it's very interesting at this point in time. I just want to pull the pots up now. But you were saying before to me that you want a particular side this time round. So
normally I would say I don't care who we get because I think we're good enough to beat whoever. But I really, really, really want Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
I want Real Madrid. I want the opportunity to be able to do them 2 times, possibly 3 times in this Champions League campaign.
I feel
we owe them, because we owe them, and we're better than them.
Yeah.
And you're in the Champions League to play the best teams. Let's play the best teams. I don't agree with this. let's get the winner of the Russian league from pot 1, and let's get the worst team.
Well, it's funny you should say that.
The worst team in pot 2.
Well, it's funny you should say that. Let's have a little peruse, shall we, of the pots. So in pot 1, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona.
That's a lot of Spanish teams.
Yeah, it's the winner of the Champions League, winner of Europa League, and winner of Spain. Manchester City, Bayern Munich, Juventus, PSG, Lokomotiv Moscow. So there's a drop off somewhere in there, Matt. Can you see where it is?
I can see where it is.
Yeah, everybody wants Juventus. No. Lokomotiv Moscow, obviously. I mean, that comes with its own pitfalls, really, and the fact that you have to travel to Moscow, midweek game, whoever you're playing afterwards, probably licking their lips.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, isn't it, that, that's where Lokomotiv Moscow come into that top pot. It feels weird, doesn't it? There's no Dutch team there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's no Dutch team there. You'd expect someone of a higher ilk.
Yeah, a little bit more pedigree.
Yeah. Pot 2. Borussia Dortmund, Porto, Manchester United, Shakhtar Donetsk, Napoli, Tottenham, Roma, and either Benfica or Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, as we've already said, it relies on whether Benfica go through or not. By the time you listen to this, they probably have gone through. Pot 3 at the moment only has 6 teams in it, because everybody else needs to qualify still. So at the moment, it's Schalke, Lyon, Monaco, CSK Moscow, Valencia, and Victoria Pilsen. And pot 4 are Club Brugge, Galatasaray, Inter Milan, and Hoffenheim.
See, Inter Milan are the interesting one there.
Inter Milan in pot 4 is fucking horrible. It's such a banana skin waiting to happen.
Now, so if we're thinking of a possible group of death, you'd probably go Real Madrid, Dortmund, us, and Milan.
Yeah, because obviously if we fall into pot 3, that can't happen.
I'm thinking pot 3. just because
Liverpool are the second best team in that group.
Oh yeah,
maybe first best, probably first best over Madrid in terms of. In fact, fuck it. Just in terms of how we've played in the league, you would expect Liverpool to just be better than those three other teams.
Yeah.
Real Madrid are going through something at the moment. Dortmund, you never quite know what you're going to get. Inter Milan, again, going through a period of transition.
Yeah, fuck knows what's happening.
Yeah.
But that would be the interesting group of death.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I want it.
I mean, I'm not about. I agree with you on this point. I'm not about this whole. Like last season's Champions League group, who did we end up with? Sevilla, Spartak Moscow, and the last one was Maribor.
Yep.
What the fuck's that? That's not a Champions League. That's a Europa League group. If you're very unlucky.
And on the good chance that we win the thing. Win the thing. People will say that we had a Europa League group and we had an easy run and all that shit. I don't want to give them that excuse. I don't want them to have that excuse. Like, we're going to have the hardest group in the Champions League, the hardest run, and we're going to win the fucking thing.
Look at how AFC Wimbledon beating West Ham.
Sound.
Just absolutely destroying everything we said about West Ham. Absolutely everything. Let's go. Yeah. The group argument, I don't agree with that. The idea of it gives rivals ammunition, because I don't give a flying fuck. At the end of the day, you beat what's put in front of you.
Oh, true. But I'm just fed up with listening to United fans, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, but what do? They got knocked out by Sevilla because they underestimated them.
This is true.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to underestimate teams like they did Sevilla, then you're going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
And, an easy group for me, involves, you have to still turn up. You can't expect to go through this group. And I think it's just as impressive to get through a group of. The group that you've just said then, in the worst case scenario, so Real Madrid, Dortmund, Liverpool, and Inter Milan.
Yeah.
You get through that group in second, which is still seen as an achievement, really.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just as impressive to win a very easy group on maximum points with a plus goal difference of plus 20.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Than it is to just get through that. And,
but I'm not talking about getting through the group.
Yeah, no, I know. But it would have been an easy excuse last season, is what you're saying. Liverpool they only won the Champions League because they didn't play anyone until they got to the Champions of England, and then they played one of the most exciting teams in Italy, and then they played the team who's won fucking 50 million.
Yeah. To be fair, I want to care because I'd still be drunk right now.
Oh yeah, I'd never come home from Pop World, honestly. Like, fuck you, Carriers.
But my main thing is, I want Madrid. I really, really want Madrid. I want to play. Yeah. I want us to play Madrid twice, at least.
Best outcome for Liverpool, apparently, is this is in the Independent, so this is bollocks at the moment. If we're placed in pot 2, the best outcome is Lokomotiv Moscow, Lyon, and Club Brugge. I
mean, there's some nice away trips there.
There's one here, but I don't think they quite understand this, though, because they've said the worst outcome is Juventus, Napoli, and Monaco. We can't get Juventus and Napoli together.
Oh, that awful shit.
We can't get Juventus and Napoli together, can we? Because they're... Oh,
yeah, you're right. They're both from Italy.
And also, they've said that United's worst outcome is PSG and Monaco. The fuck's this article? Right, whatever.
I've not thought about this at all.
Alright, phone away. I think the only thing you can really hope for at this point, I think, is that you don't get sent miles away.
Yeah, and not miles away. Somewhere easy for the away fans to go.
And I mean, it's not really that big an issue this year because all of our home games, all of our Champions League group games are followed by a home game.
Yeah, it's felt really, really nice.
Yeah, it really has. Much to the displeasure of course, the moaning one. Long may he reign. There's more I wanted to say about him, I'm sure there is, but it'll come back to me in a bit. But I mean, you particularly want Real Madrid?
Yes.
That's fine.
As much as you wanted Man City last year. That is how hard I feel about this.
That's fair. And I mean, I think time proved I was right to want Man City.
Yes, time will prove I will be right.
Yeah, I think
I am always right.
Do you know what? I think if we win the league this season, I think you can trace it back to the City game last year. All four of them really.
Yeah,
I think you can trace it back to that point there where you just turn around and you go, "This Liverpool team's good enough to challenge this Man City team."
Yeah.
I think there'll be a lot of importance historically on those games. I really hope there are anyway.
It will be.
Anything else you want to say on the Champions League? Before we move on?
Well, we're going to win it, aren't we?
Well, we are going to win it. I mean, I can't wait to do the double, I'm so excited. I don't know how I'm going to cope if Liverpool don't do the double now.
Cry.
Yeah, probably. Fucking...
It'd be sad.
Yeah. Right, so I want to move on then from the Champions League to some comments made by a former Liverpool player.
Oh, yes.
Prick.
Mikey, what do you think about him?
That tells you my standpoint on this this man. Michael Owen this week has made some comments. He's basically reiterated some comments, actually he's made them before, about him leaving Liverpool and basically his thought process when he was in the process of leaving Liverpool. He's also made some interesting comments about his injury record, which, in all fairness, I'm going to fucking rip into him enough in a minute. The comments he's made about his injury record are genuinely fascinating. Because, I mean, when he starts talking about... I'll get the positives out the way first. So when he starts talking about... when he gets to the end of his career, he didn't want to play anymore. He wasn't making runs. He wasn't putting himself in positions to make runs.
Didn't feel like he was himself playing.
And he was actively trying to avoid having to do things on the football pitch. It is incredibly sad to see.
Yeah,
that
it's sad to see an athlete fall from grace so far.
Especially someone who was as good as Michael Owen.
Yeah, he was an incredible player, and his body just let him down.
Yeah.
And he lost for one thing that was, well, no, he was still a finisher. He said as much in his interview. He still knew what the goal was.
It's that pace, though, isn't it?
He lost the thing that made him as good as he was.
Yeah.
And that side of it is upsetting, and it was a fascinating listen.
Yeah,
listening
it really
to
was.
Talk about
I mean, listening to him talk about his hamstring issues. So for those of you who haven't heard it, he basically says that his hamstring went when he was still at Liverpool. I think he was aged 19 at the time, and the hamstring's made up of 3 muscles, and he tore the middle one, and it just kind of sets in where it just basically heals onto wherever it hits. So he was playing on basically 2 of the 3 strings that should be there, which is absolutely fascinating, and it really gives you an insight into when there's a point where he had to change his game when he was at Liverpool, and he becomes a bit bulkier, and he's more of a poacher rather than a man who's going to take the ball, run past 3 players, like he did against Argentina, for example, when he's first coming through. Having said all this, his comments about when he leaves Liverpool have left. I mean, he's obviously trying to get a bit of pity out of the fan base, and he's trying to make us appreciate that he always wanted to come back, kind of thing. But his attitude of I wanted to go to Real Madrid for 2 seasons and then come back, it just does not sit right with me at all.
No,
because
and when he talks about previous Liverpool players that have done that, and I was like, oh, it's fine.
Ian Rush did it.
Rushy did it. Why can't I do it? Why can't I go to massive team in Spain for 2 years, 2 of my prime years, for a pittance? Yeah. Running my contract down at Liverpool.
This is the point, yeah.
Yeah, running my contract down at Liverpool, and then not letting them know that I wanted to leave until very, very late on in the window, not affording them enough time or money to get a suitable replacement in.
Let's never forget, we got him and Antonio Nunes. We got 8 million and Antonio Nunes for Michael Owen.
Yeah. So when he talks about wanting to leave Liverpool, but then it was always in his intentions to come back. Like he always had the best intentions of the club at heart. He didn't. That move to Real Madrid was purely for him. He could have made it just even a little bit better for us. But he didn't. He chose not to.
Yeah.
So those comments really, really irk me. And when he was talking about wanting to come back, and Liverpool offered 10 million, and then Newcastle offered more, and then it was Newcastle or nowhere. But then he put in his Newcastle contract that if Liverpool ever bid a certain amount of money, he would be able to go. It's like it stinks of entitlement.
If I remember rightly, the Newcastle thing, I think I read this in Ring of Fire, Cy Hughes' book. If I remember rightly, the stipulation in his contract with Newcastle is that if a team comes in for Michael Owen, then Liverpool basically have to have the right to match that bid.
Yeah.
And then he can choose to go to Liverpool instead. Oh, red card in the West Ham game.
Oh, sound. You got a bit of not live commentary as well.
Yeah. Very not live commentary. Fucking look at him, dressed like a boy band member. Sorry. So Owen. I agree. I hate the attitude that Michael Owen seems to have of I will come back to Liverpool when I feel like I've done some I wanted to do elsewhere.
And of course they'll want me back.
Yeah,
of course they'll want me back.
And the fact is, the point when he comes back he comes back to England, in 2006. Was it 2006 or 2005? I think it's how long did he spend there?
It was just after we'd won the Champions League.
Did he come straight back then?
I think so, yeah.
I mean,
like, we're a different team.
Yeah, it was a year later. Yeah, we're a different team. I mean, we still needed a striker, but Djibril Cissé was still. We didn't know what we were going to get from him. Just signed Peter Crouch. There's an argument to say that we probably don't end up with Fernando Torres if we sign Michael Owen.
Probably.
And he's just. I just can't get over this fucking feeling of that basically Liverpool have turned around now and they're just like, you know what, you were a legend when you played for us, so we're gonna, throw you a bone and we're gonna keep you on as international ambassador for the club. And it's like Owen feels like he has to kind of try and win as many people back as he can to be still in that role, because otherwise the club will just bin him.
There's a reason, though. There's a reason he feels like he has to win over the Liverpool fans, and it's because he went to United.
That's what I'm saying. And the whole thing of him wanting to come back to Liverpool is completely undermined by the fact that he went to Manchester United.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, United's a massive draw for somebody of... At that age, I can understand it, sort of, to a point. But the fact is, if it had been Torres or someone like that, the reason people can sort of forgive Torres, not myself because he's a prick as well, because the reason people can sort of forgive Torres is that Torres developed a love for Liverpool, whereas Michael Owen was ours. He started out as a 17-year-old. He becomes England legend before he becomes Liverpool legend. That's probably part of the reason he's not remembered as fondly as, say, Robbie Fowler.
Yeah, possibly.
But he was ours, and he left under his own steam. He didn't have to leave Liverpool at all. He could have signed a new contract. He could have stayed there. I mean, he can say what he likes. The reason he went out there is because Beckham was there. The draw of playing the Galacticos, yeah, fine. You were never getting in over Ronaldo or Raul. You were a very good footballer, but those two were still world class. Whereas Owen was a man who didn't have a fucking working hamstring in his right leg. But, it's remembered differently to the Fowler thing, because Fowler left because Houllier basically forced him out.
Yeah.
At that point, and Houllier was just, got rid of him. The second Robbie Fowler came back, everyone was just like, oh my god, Fowler's back. I remember just losing my head when Robbie Fowler came back. It was stupidly exciting. And Michael Owen was always my hero as growing up as well, do you know what I mean? He was always my favourite player. He's the reason I'm a Liverpool fan at the end of the day. But he can get to fuck as far as I'm concerned. It's too late for these apologies. Where was the... I mean, you've seen players force moves before now, right? And I'm not advocating that at all, but there's a precedent for it in football. I mean, Luis Suarez turned around and said, I want to go to Arsenal when he was at Liverpool. I mean, that was the stupidest thing I've ever fucking seen. You're telling me Michael Owen couldn't have turned around and went, my heart's set on coming back to Liverpool? And all of us wouldn't have been like, okay, fine. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, we would have been able to forgive him.
Yeah.
Could have forgiven him going to Real Madrid, fucking us over a little bit. Even go to fucking Newcastle. It's the fact that he went to United. You cannot sit there and say, I had my heart set on Liverpool. All I wanted to do was go back to Liverpool and then sign for Manchester United. You just fucking can't.
I told you we'd come back to United. Yeah. I think that's all we can say really about Michael Owen.
I'm in a rage now.
I'm really, really annoyed that the club haven't yet made Daniel Agger or John Amarisa official international ambassadors.
Fuck him.
Or Dirk Kuyt, for example. Well, Dirk Kuyt's a coach at the moment, actually, so that's not really fair. But the fact that Michael Owen will never sit right with me. I hate him.
Yep.
Hate him. And although with him winning the FA Cup is still one of my favourite memories of all time. But
True.
So shall we move on to the last thing that we wanted to talk about this week then, which was the Anfield plans.
Yeah, sure.
That have been shot down. Today it's come out that basically the club have applied for permission to use Anfield for different purposes than football.
Different sporting events, the concerts,
boxing, and the council have rejected it. And apparently that has led to claims that the Anfield Road extension is now under jeopardy, basically. So basically, the club, from these claims, the club were using this as a reason to redevelop the Anfield Road stand, rather than just getting more fans into Anfield and making Anfield more accessible for certain people. I completely agree with the decision, to be fair. I mean, as much as I want to see as much as I want to see Liverpool develop, and that might well be a way of developing in terms of bringing in extra revenue for certain events. Excuse me. I don't feel like the Liverpool need to do it, to do this move. As someone who lives pretty close to the stadium, I don't really want Liverpool to cause more traffic around than we need. And you were talking about a point that a couple of people have been making on the internet about.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying, it's like, oh, well, if you don't like it, move. Why did you move so close to Anfield? Tell us, why did you move so close to Anfield?
We moved there because the new estate went here. At the end of the day, this was within our price range, and we could live here.
What about the rest of the houses in Anfield? Do you think a lot of people that live in those houses have a choice of where they live?
Well, the interesting thing about our estate is that half it's council, half it's rented. A lot of people just end up here.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. As with the houses that are a bit closer to Anfield, so in the main stand, near the main stand even, they've been there for decades and decades and decades, and the people on Anfield Road have been there for decades. I mean, there's still a B&B there that my dad stayed in when he first started going out with my mum in 1987, I think it was.
Nice.
The fact is that there's a lot of history and heritage around that stadium, and people don't want to be forced out their homes, and they shouldn't have to be. What I will say is that if Liverpool wanted to realistically do this, make this decision, I'm fine with the Liverpool holding boxing events and stuff like that. I'm not particularly pleased about concerts, but boxing events I can kind of understand.
Yeah, I'm not against the stadium being used for anything else per se. What I am against is like the area of Anfield being used and being used by more fans. It's
being subjected to more things, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not, the area of Anfield is not being helped by the club. Is the thing.
Yeah, and they're talking about redeveloping around the stadium, but the important thing...
They talked about that when they did the main stand.
Yeah,
they haven't done it.
This is the thing. The important thing that Liverpool need to do at this point in time is put some investment into the area and forget about just the stadium and concentrate on Anfield.
Yeah,
in general.
Get better transport in and out.
This is the main thing. Is that at this point in time, Anfield isn't suited to. Getting away from Anfield now is a fucking nightmare.
It's barely suited to Premier League matches.
Exactly, and
to be able to do concerts and other sporting events over summer as well. The whole Anfield area is going to be an absolute shithole.
I'll be impressed if there's a stadium in the top flight that is as difficult to access from the city centre as Anfield is, and Goodison as well, to be fair. I mean, the closest train station is Sandhills. That's a fucking
ages away.
Mission away. You have to get the bus from there. Buses just, they come when they want to, really, and even then they're packed to the rafters.
Yeah. I walk now. I walk for half an hour from mine to yours, and then we walk 15-20 minutes from yours, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm all for the redevelopment of Anfield, but I think what needs to come first and foremost is that the area itself needs. We need to support the area and the infrastructure, basically, and we need to make sure that the transport links are there, in particular, because it just can't. It's not sustainable to have 55,000-60,000 people come to this area when getting away from this is just going to be a complete nightmare. The city's on a match day will just come to a standstill in certain points, and you think where Anfield is, it connects on to Queen's Drive, East Lancs Road and stuff like that as well. Do you know what I mean? These are some of the busiest roads in Liverpool at the best of times. I feel like the club basically were just like, right, well, people are forcing our hand about the Anfield Road expansion, so what we're going to do is we're going to give ourselves a reason to do the Anfield Road expansion. And if you don't agree with it, and the council don't agree with it, then alright, it wasn't our fault.
Is this another be careful what you wish for, Ian Ayre situation?
No, he's long gone.
I just feel like this is a big miscalculation from the owners, and they've missed a trick here. They can use Anfield as a another sporting venue to bring in a bit more revenue, and also like music to bring in more revenue. But they need to sort out Anfield, the area, before they sort out Anfield, the stadium.
Yeah, definitely.
Which they promised to do when they first put forward plans about the main stand and the Anfield Road end, and they haven't done.
Yeah,
you've seen a lot more independents pop up, but independents are independent. They don't have anything to do with Liverpool Football Club.
And Liverpool aren't helping them either, to be fair. I mean, I had badge or scarf with the
They fight
the
them tooth and nail.
Yeah, they basically turned around and said to them, listen, you can't...
FSG are getting a lot right now, but like their treatment of the Anfield area is not...
It's hat scarf. It's hat scarf or badge, actually, not hat badge or scarf.
Hat scarf or a badge.
Yeah, I got it the wrong way around there. Yeah, I mean, they got told to stop using the lava bed, didn't they, straight away? Which is just fucking...
shite.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting when the Everton head officers move into the live buildings and we have to turn around and be like, listen, you can't use that now. Because it's ours. The fume would be fucking unreal.
Ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about, really.
Yeah,
I mean, that was I don't really know too much about that, other than what has been dismissed, the plans, really. So yeah, Liverpool have started the season as well as possible back on the pitch.
Yes.
We look to carry that on away at Leicester this week. We will be back with review on Monday, maybe Tuesday, we'll see.
Yeah. It's all a bit ad hoc.
When we can be ours. No. Yeah, so if you could follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, follow us on all the usual platforms, so Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Podcast Addict, all of them. WordPress as well, as you know, we keep saying about doing articles and stuff like that. I tried to tidy up the WordPress the other day, but I'm absolutely fucking useless at what's it called, HTML. So just designing websites, I just think I when I'm
make it red.
When I'm designing them, I'm just like, yeah, it looks alright, and then I actually look on it and I'm like, fucking hell, Matthew, what the fuck's that you're looking at? Yeah, Matt's going to be in charge of that from now on.
I did do a course on it.
Yeah, so if you can share this as well, that'd be much appreciated. I guess that's all from us. Up the Reds.
Cheers, guys.